Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, got it, dude.
Okay.
Yeah. What's up, man?
Not much. How are you?
Dude, I'm chilling. I actually got some great sleep last night.
Oh, yeah?
Feeling like I can, I don't know, do something.
Conquer the world.
For the world. Yeah, man. It's been crazy, man. Like I've been like for like, I don't know, like a week or something. Something like that. I've been like waking up at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, me too.
and then I'll be up for like, dude, I'll be up for hours. Now sometimes I'll eventually get back to sleep, but like maybe only for an hour.
Yeah.
And then but I figured it out though last night. So what I've been doing, well, as you know, just like Trish, Kim likes to go to bed very, very early.
Right.
So she'll just be like, all right, I'm done. And then she goes to bed. So
Right.
I'm like, all right, and then I'm like, well, she'll turn on the television and I'll be downstairs for maybe like 10 minutes. I'll go upstairs and then she's like knocked out. So then I'm just like laying in bed watching television. And I think that's been messing me up. So last night I was like, all right, let me do this. So she went up to bed and then I just like hung out downstairs. I ended up watching The Terminator. Went old school,
The first one.
First one, man, which was pretty cool, man. But anyway, so I did that, and then so by the time that was over, I think I went to sleep at like maybe like midnight or something like that. But I was so tired, and dude, I just like slept all, straight through the night. So I was
Wow.
like, that's the move, I can't, I can't just like lay around in bed for hours watching.
Right.
It on TV and then fall asleep. It doesn't work for me. So
Right.
So yeah, so feeling good, man.
Good.
Feeling good to do a lot of nothing today.
Yeah. We went for a walk.
You did?
Yeah.
Couldn't go yet. Wow.
We found some good trails.
Oh, really?
We didn't know about. Yeah. So, I think I can mountain bike them too. So I'm gonna go hit it up later. Yeah.
How far are they? How far away are they?
I don't know. We walked, so it took us like 40.
Close, then.
It took us like 40 minutes to get there, and then we walked around the trails for 20 minutes or so.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
Man. So what else? What's going on, man? What's happening?
Nothing really. Just hanging out here with Trish. She's right over there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Looking forward to doing her episode of Kicking It with Kimmy.
Oh my God! I'm telling you, that would be a hit.
She's got her earphones on. She can't hear me.
Yeah, I know. She'll watch it later.
Right. Be like, you making fun of me?
I was thinking. So actually, I'm gonna have Trish on my next show. It's gonna be what is it? I was thinking, dancing for Al.
Yeah.
Have people come on and dance.
Yeah, she got some moves. That one, mad skills.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh man. So what's up on the? Are you working, dude, right now?
A little bit. I'm doing. So a lot of our grant or our contracts have been postponed because we do a lot of face-to-face work,
Right.
But and then people that were looking for us to do face-to-face work have kind of dropped off the map too because all their businesses are on hold. So I've been working on a COPS grant. Mm-hmm. I've just put a proposal into the Department of Justice to create I'm calling it social justice for law enforcement course, like so that they can learn about stuff that they probably should have known about 100 years ago.
Right.
To just re-engage and rethink about how they're engaging with their communities. So I've been working on that a lot.
Now, so is that going to be like a state thing?
Well, it would be through the federal government. If they gave me the grant, then I would try to come up probably with like an online platform to just do a series of coursework that would sort of lead guys through this, like learning about implicit bias and procedural justice and truth and reconciliation and just, different classes that people, systems of privilege and systems of oppression and things that they don't teach you about that like would change the way that you thought about how you're interacting with the community that you're supposed to serve. Instead of just cops and robbers, like how do you really engage with the 90% of people that are doing just fine in life, so yeah.
Wow. So with that, so when you say it's like an online thing, so would it be like a course, like video? Like,
yeah, it could be. I mean, it could be in person too, but All Aces, where I work, they've got a pretty big online educational system already.
right.
So, part of what we'll do is face-to-face stuff, but when people want to learn more or they want to, continue their education when it comes to racial equity and that kind of stuff, they will go there and they can learn more things. So it's called intentionallyact.com. So I thought I'd make a specific portal for law enforcement officers that they could go in and start to learn about, what is racism and what is implicit bias and what, how does this affect the work that I do? And it turns out I'm part of the system of oppression in some cases. And I, how do you get some agency as an individual to do something about that? So, yeah.
Wow. And so where are you trying to get the money from? The grant from?
It's through the Department of Justice. It's called the COPS office, COPS, and they just do different things. You can get grants for drug interdiction, you can get grants for other things, but this is like the other category. This is just something I made up. I've been running it by a bunch of people who all think it's a great idea, but nobody seems to know where you would find funding for this kind of thing. So I was pointed towards the Department of Justice, and I talked with a few folks there who think it's a good idea, but we'll just see how far my pitch makes it through their process.
Right. How far along in the process are you then?
I'm working on the narrative now for submitting my grant. The grant's due April 14th, so I've got to do the grant and then the budget timeline, and then I'll put it in, and we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And everything is like nothing has changed though with timelines and everything because of all this shit.
They did push it back. It was going to be March 31st, but they said, we'll extend it to April 14th just because of the coronavirus and the strain it's putting on, first responders and stuff. Those guys are getting sick, and it's too bad. It's scary. Do
you know anybody who's gotten sick or anything?
I don't. I haven't heard of it yet. I did read. I still get emails through the Chief of Police Association. So I think there's 60 first responders who are sick in New Hampshire, and like 40 of them are law enforcement, and 20 are, like EMTs and stuff, and firefighters. So even our little state, I mean, we're up to like 500 and something cases now in New Hampshire. So it's a matter of time. I actually put in to get my certificate back so I could work part-time for a local department just to help them. Yeah, I mean, it's scary, but at the same time, I can't sit on the sidelines, Yeah,
that's cool. So is that a process of doing, or is that pretty easy to?
Well, you would think it'd be easy, right? Like I've been retired 1 month, so a little over a month, and after a month, your certificate lapses, and then you have to put in a request to get reinstated. And you're supposed to do a physical fitness test, and they only give it at the police academy, which is now shut down. So it's like a catch-22. Like I have to do this thing in order to be a cop again, and I can't do it because they shut the academy down. So I've asked them to put in a waiver of this, physical fitness test, and like all bureaucracies, I have no idea. I've emailed everybody and their brother, and I can't get a straight answer. So, which is reminding me of exactly why I was happy to retire in the first place, right? Tired of that bullshit. So, yeah.
Wow, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So we'll see. I don't know. I've got a good friend, Catherine. She's the chief of police up here on the seacoast, and she could use some help with grant writing and some other more administrative stuff. I don't think I'm going to be out doing cops and robbers running around the back streets, but too old for that shit. So
you sound like a Lethal Weapon movie, dude.
Yeah, I know. I literally, so the week before I retired in January, we got called for a fist fight on the side of the highway, and I'm driving there. I'm like, I cannot believe I'm going to break up a fist fight. I'm almost 50 years old. It's the last week before I retire. And fortunately, the people have left by the time we got there. People can't fight for more than 2 minutes, and it took us five minutes to get there. So, And I show up with my youngest patrol officer, this young patrol woman, Jackie. And she's like, damn it, I can't believe they're gone. I was so excited to. And I was like, I had the complete opposite reaction. I was like, oh, thank God they're gone. Like the last thing I wanted to do was go roll around on the pavement at 50 years old with some knucklehead. So
dude, you just need to come like with an old school hockey ref, you know, and then those dudes are just stand on the sides like they're gonna wear themselves out in a minute.
Right.
Like,
as soon as they're tired, I'll put the handcuffs on. Exactly.
I'm too old for this shit.
Right. Even in my 20s, I remember I went to this bar fight and there were like 20 people in the parking lot fighting. And so I got on the PA and I go, whoever's still here, and when I count to 10 is getting arrested. And I just did a countdown. And by the time I was done, they were all gone. So work smarter, not harder.
Oh God, dude, that's hilarious, man. Oh jeez. Man, dude. All right, man. So what made you want to be a cop in the first place, man?
I had well, it's two-sided. So I had a child, and you know, up until that point, I had been a martial artist. I'd been just sort of like, that was my main focus, and whatever I needed to do for a job so that I could kind of keep going in my martial art training, I would do. And then I had a kid and I was like, damn, I need like benefits and like a decent paycheck. So I thought about joining the military at that point, but you know, you have to ship all over the world, and you know, it's not real good for a family life, I don't think. So so I was like, well, how can I, you know, like test myself, like this martial practice, how can I test that? And in sort of a paramilitaristic institution. And so I was like, maybe I'll be a cop. And so I saw Lebanon Police Department was hiring, and I applied. And it's funny, I went in for my interview, and they're like, well, how long have you wanted to be a cop? And I'm like, I don't know, like, how long's the ad been in the paper, you know? So they were like taken aback, but they gave me a shot. And I'm still friends with the old chief there, this guy, Jim. And he goes, I can't believe we took a chance on you. You know, he goes, I still remember you used this word amalgam in your application. I had to go ask like this kid who went to Dartmouth College what it meant, so that we could, because I said I had an amalgam of skills, a bunch of skills that we could put together that would make me a good applicant. So, yeah.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious, man.
But it was good. I mean, I get to see a part of life, a part of things that most people don't get to see. It's not always pretty, but but it's a peek into a world that, you know, most people don't get to be a part of.
Yeah, that's cool. Well,
yeah,
I'm definitely
kind of like being a roadie, right? No.
Yeah. You could definitely get a peek into a side of life that most people don't get to see.
Right.
Sure. And then sometimes the worlds collide.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Actually, the funny thing is, like I don't know if I was like lucky. I don't know if you call it lucky. No, that's not lucky, man. But I never really had like any. I was never really. Well, I was gonna say I was never really around any knuckleheads, but of course I have been. But
right.
I never had like any issues really. I mean, well, actually, so back in the day though, like in my old band, like the band I was in when I met Kim, we were a bunch of. I mean, we were kind of a bunch of knuckleheads, but so we had, so we had this, so when we moved to New York from Buffalo, we bought a van, and it was like an old, like a UPS kind of delivery van or something, you know, just like a Ford Econoline or whatever, but it had like a raised roof. Mm-hmm. And then, and the woman that we bought it from, she used it for, she had like a mobile, like pet grooming business. Yeah. So she like put like this is some crazy shit. She put a window air conditioner in the top of it somehow, and like had it rigged up. We ended up taking it out because that wasn't like practical. But anyway, so my buddy Pete, who's like the lead guitarist and the singer in the band, he's like an artist, you know, a visual artist as well. so he had the bright idea. It was like, well, you know, the band's Moon Boot Lover, and all the, you know, so he got the bright idea to paint the one side of the van. I can't remember if it was both sides of the van, but dude, I mean, we were, man, come on, man. Like, so it's like this big red van with like stars and moons and all kinds of shit painted on the side.
Right.
And we might as well just put a target, you know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
And we used to get pulled over all the time in that joint, man. You know?
Right.
So I'm like, and dude, that's why I had like dreads and I was like all like hippied out, you know what I mean? And just like, dude, I mean, it was straight up Cheech and Chong for real, man. You know what I mean? Like for real.
Right.
Oh my God, man. So luckily at some point that van died and we had to get a new one, you know, so we just got like a Dodge 15 passenger kind of
straight, right. Just straight pedophile van, not.
No. Exactly. Well, so the thing was, man, so I had this idea, man. I was like, look, we should have got just a plain like white 15 passenger van.
Yeah.
Because at the time we were traveling down south a lot, and you'd roll around down south and you'd always see a van go by with a bunch of people in it, and then on the side, on the doors, they had like the Church of something or other, you know. Right.
Calvary Baptist Church.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, man, that's what we should have put on the
right.
van. You know, we would never have gotten pulled over.
Moon Trip Lover gospel singers.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, dude. We never would have gotten pulled over, man. Yeah, but whatever.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
Outside of that though, man, like ain't problems, man. You know, it's because I don't know. We didn't like that's the thing, man. Like I just feel like, well, we just didn't surround ourselves with that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like that energy just wasn't near us, and it's man, like it's really funny. I like it. You know, it just so many things in life are like that. Like the energy that you surround, like the energy that the things that you're thinking about, the things that you're putting out in the world, the energy, like all that stuff comes to you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so there's people I would just like all the time, they're just doing some stupid shit, you know, and it's like, and I felt like, well, man, you're not getting in trouble. Well, you are getting in trouble because you are doing some stupid stuff, but it's like, but that's the energy. That's like, you're just people are just, sometimes they're just magnets, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's like, man.
We call them shit magnets, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
I used to with my coworkers, I'd be like, dude, you're a shit magnet, man. You got all the bad calls today. You know? So I developed an anti-shit magnet force field around me. So I would like repel all the crappy calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then man, some people are just stupid. You know that, man. Like dude, one time I was in Reno. This is classic, man. This is so classic. I was in Reno, and we were hanging out at we just had to go to a gas station to, you know, get something. I don't know. So anyway, I was just hanging out outside, and this dude drives up. Oh, so there was a gas station, and then there was like a motel or some kind of shady spot next to it. So this guy pulls up. Dude was probably in his late 20s, early 30s, probably, you know, although it's kind of hard to tell because so he pulls up. We're in Reno, it's hot as hell out there, you know what I mean? And he this raggedy car, you know, and he parks in the gas station, like kind of right next to me. He had his hoodie on, you know, and like kind of, you know, tattoos all over his face and stuff, you know. Okay. So then he gets out, man, and he's just like kind of walking around like this, you know, all shady looking, you know. I'm like, man, what is this dude doing? So then I'm just sitting here, and then he like walks back behind the gas station into some random door, like in the motel, you know what I mean? And like he's in there for 5-10 minutes or something like that, and then comes back out, gets in his car, and he's just kind of doing this and this and that, you know, looking around. I'm like, man, this dude is definitely out doing like he's on some meth or something. You know what I'm saying? It was some straight out of like Breaking Bad. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, dude, I'm just looking at him. I'm like, dude, you are not fooling anybody. You know what I'm saying? Come on, dude. Like,
right.
I was like, man, this cat. And, you know, so you see stuff like that all the time. Like, man, they're just dummies out there, man. Like, you're literally not fooling anybody, man.
Right.
You know?
Now you can smell it on them.
Golly, man.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you don't miss that shit.
I don't, not a bit. So, yeah.
That must be, dude, but that must be hard to turn off, though. You know,
it's hard. Yeah. Trish is always like you don't work in it. Like, you're not working anymore. You can stop, you know, like just, I can't help but to pick people apart. I'm constantly like threat, not a threat, you know?
Yeah.
And even she goes, we go for a walk, and the way you peek in windows at a house, you're like ready to take a shot. And then you're like, we just keep walking, ready to take a shot, ready to just keep walking. So yeah, I'm fun to be with. So, you know, going into restaurants, and I'm like, all right, who's a threat? Who's not a threat? Where are we going to sit? Where's the exits? You know, and then we'll look at the menu.
Yeah, right. I just wanted a smoothie.
Exactly. Yeah. Even when I was, I was doing the stuff with the Nantucket project, and they would say, well, we're bringing up a couple of shooters. And I'd be like, that has a very different meaning in my world. They were talking about their film crew.
Yeah.
I was like, shooters. Yeah. Or like, even when applying for new jobs, people are like, well, we're going to need some headshots. I'm like, that again is a very different connotation in the world that I've just come from. Shooters and headshots means something very different. So, yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Yo, man, I'm serious, man. You like, but that's like, dude, there's yeah. There's some great skits in there for you though, man.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I live in an apartment now because we sold our house. We moved to Portsmouth, and the elevator pops open. There's somebody standing there, and I'm just ready to like launch. I'm like, whoo, like I'm not used to seeing people like poke around corners and stuff, So all my neighbors think I'm a meth head.
Exactly. The crazy old John again.
That's right. It's gonna.
Oh shit, dude. Oh god, man. No doubt, man. So man, you've been exercising though?
A bit. We've been walking like 20,000 steps a day. I think we'll have the Appalachian Trail done by the time this is over. Yeah. So I got some bike rides in, but it's like in that mid 40s. So if it's overcast and drizzly, it's too cold. So I run a little bit, ride a little bit. Looking forward to mountain bike season, but I need the trails to dry up a little. So yeah.
Did you get rid of any of your bikes, or you still have them all?
I sold one 2 days ago, so I got rid of one. So now I only have 4 for me, and then 2 for Trish. So we're down to 6 from 7. We're really leaning out here. So I'm gonna try and sell my tri bike because I don't think I'll be doing a lot of triathlons, and then I'll just have a cross bike, mountain bike, and a road bike, which is the basics. That's what everybody needs.
Yeah. After all this, man, everyone might need a bike, man.
That's right. One for every season. So yeah.
Man, I got rid of my road bike, man. I don't know, man. Like I love riding, but man, I started to get a little freaked out. Well, so now in Massachusetts, man, now you can't. It's like a hands-free,
right?
Situation. Whereas before, it's like, and I still see people like talking on using their phones when they're driving every once in a while. Not as much as before, but I still see it. But man, like there were a few people who got hit like around here, like past few years.
It's bad.
Man, I don't know, man. Like I just don't feel comfortable, man.
Yeah, I hear you. I started bike riding and racing seriously when I was 16 years old. So I've been riding for a long time.
Yeah.
And I would say in the last 5 years or so, just with the amount of texting and stuff, it's scary out there. People are constantly, you see them. I used to pull people over. I'm like, they're either texting or they're drunk. I'm not sure which, because your driving is just as bad. My dad got hit 2 summers ago riding his bike, and he was in the hospital for 3 months with a smashed up pelvis and stuff. So it's dangerous.
Really?
Yeah. He got really screwed up. Yeah. Terrible too. Guy was a Vietnam vet. He survived that war, and he was getting older. He's in his 70s, and so he's like, I'm going to start riding a bike. Keep in shape and keep the weight off. And he loved it. He loved it. And so it was so tragic for me to know that happened to him, because he finally kind of found this freedom. As an older guy, something he could do. And he's recuperating, but he's messed up. He'll be messed up because of it forever. So I feel bad about it. But
that's cool. So wow. So is he still like rehabbing from it?
A little bit. I think he's getting toward the end of that, but he does like pool workouts and stuff just to try to get back in shape without the gravity weighing him down. And he's been going out for some rides too. So he's back at it. But I think he's still got a lot of like back pain and hip pain, some nerve damage.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when you're old, obviously you're not going to recover as quick or fully recover. Like when you're older, I mean, it's just, that's rough. I mean, that's a rough injury when at any age, really.
Right. But, Yep. It's terrible.
See, I don't understand. This is the one thing I don't understand. I don't understand, man. Like if you have your phone in a moving vehicle,
mm-hmm.
like why? Like I don't like you can do all this amazing stuff with your phone, yet if you're going over a certain speed or it should just, you shouldn't have access to it. I don't. Right. I talk about that with Kim all the time. She's like, well, people use it for GPS and stuff like that. Like, I kind of get that.
Yeah.
I kind of get that, man. But I don't know, man. I guess no matter what, there's always going to be some kind of distraction. You're either listening to music on it. Yeah. So it's not necessarily just texting, but.
Yeah. But, I think people are distracted more nowadays, everything's so instantaneous and so, at your fingertips. And so I think that people's brains are different. When we were kids, like I think I sent you the thing, like how you knew where your friends were when you were a kid. That's where all the bikes were piled up in the front yard,
Yeah, man.
So, and you were more focused on the one thing. I mean, it was like playing with a stick in the yard or something, but right. Now you got 35 different things you can do and all these different platforms to chat with your buddies and all that, instead of just doing the sort of a play ball, and just focus on that. Yeah. So it's divided attention.
Yeah. I mean, I just think like I don't buy the whole GPS thing, man, because I think about, whatever, I use it, obviously, what I mean? But the thing is like, man, like going back to like, the early days when I was like touring and all those crazy vans and stuff like that. Dude, we used to like leave. We would be out on tour for sometimes months. We'd leave, Woodstock, New York, and we could end up in Colorado or where down south, all over.
Right.
We didn't have cell phones. It's just we were going on tour, so you planned it. I mean, like, and how did you get there? We use maps. You know what I'm saying? Like, or we just, I'm saying like, so it's like it's not like. Whatever, man. Like, obviously, like, it's not going back to that, But all I'm saying is but it was possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, I made it this far. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I
like a good gazetteer,
Huh?
A good gazetteer. You can find anything or maps, right? Like, I can remember driving through Boston as a teenager and just like, all right, third one up on the right, and then you just. That's why they make blocks square in case you miss something. You just and you'll find it again. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Boston may not be the best.
No, the best example. Right. How about some Midwestern corn state and something like that?
Dude, I know people who like grew up in Boston and they still don't know where the hell they're going,
Right. I know I've been lost in Boston. I think I was lost last fall. I was like, I thought I was here, but now I'm in Cambridge. And so
yeah,
started in Chinatown. I ended up in Cambridge, but
you were trying to go around the block to park.
Exactly. I couldn't find my car. It was awful. So,
oh, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Wow. So you're digging the new job, though, huh?
I love it. I love it. It's great. Yeah, I worked with this woman named Atia Martin. She's a doctor of policy, but she was the chief resiliency officer for the city of Boston right after the Boston bombing. And so,
Really?
yeah. So she's awesome. I mean, our focus was racial equity and, doing diversity inclusion work. Mostly, we do private and public companies, but and schools and that kind of thing. And she's just great. Like, she's just got this ability to sort of hone in, not just give a blanket training, but like, what is the real issue with this particular organization? And what I love about what she does is it's not just like, it's about raising equity for everybody, but it's also about creating conditions where each person can be who they truly and fully are. And then in that space, being able to sort of like get to know each other. And so the diversity of each other is where you meet each other and have this rich relationship because of our differences, but also because we're fully developed as people. And so her goal is to grow people, which was my goal. My whole career was to always help grow people to be the best version of themselves. And so it's been a good fit for me. I've learned so much, and I keep bumping into my white privilege all the time. It's a total humiliating and humbling experience. We were going to do this training on privilege and oppression, and I had this. It's a tape about the GIs from World War II, and it's about how banking, the redlining, like banks wrote into their underwriting laws that in it unfairly said that African Americans cannot buy houses in certain areas. Right? It was written into the law. And it's this oppressive policy that was a government policy. And so I shared this with this woman, Hyung, who I work with, who is a refugee. Her family came over here as refugees. And so she says to me, she's like, John, this makes no sense to me and my family because we didn't have the GI Bill. And so I was like, oh, damn, there I go again with my, like, of course, everybody will understand this, right? Like,
right.
Because it's my experience and not realizing it's not everybody's experience. So it's good. It tests me, and they're great. They create this, like, we'll call it gracious space where you're allowed to stick your foot in your mouth on a regular basis, which I fully take advantage of that benefit. Yeah. And they love me.
You don't get like an allotment per day or anything?
No, I know. Mine are all spent by like the first day of the month, right? I have to borrow from other people. So, yeah. No, they've been so good to me. So I love it. So, and it's about me standing up and taking a stance and using my position and who I am and being able to get a message out that other people wouldn't hear unless it came from someone like me. So yeah. It's been good.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And are you still doing anything with the neighborhood project?
Yeah. So yeah, the Nantucket project, and then
the Nantucket project. I mean,
right. Yeah. So, and within that, they have what's called the neighborhood project.
Right,
so
right.
I'll explain it for your audience if you want.
Mm-hmm.
So the Nantucket project is they make films, inspirational films, and they're pretty cool. And so I got hooked up with them because they made a film about me and a couple guys I worked with. I think I've shown you the clip.
Yeah, man.
And right,
it's amazing.
So it was good. It was a short film, and so they'll just play this film, and I'll go talk at these conferences and stuff. I was down in New York at an insurance company conference, which is one of their sponsors, and I got to co-present with this guy Ray Kelly, who was the commissioner of NYPD back in like just after 9/11, and it was pretty good. It was pretty cool. This was right before Corona. I'm literally driving back on the bus and I'm hearing people cough. I'm like, oh my God, like I've just been in the epicenter of this thing. And like, I'm driving back to New Hampshire. Like, I hope I don't want the Rona. So yeah, so I still do some stuff with them. It's been an amazing experience. I've gone places and done things I never would have done, except for they saw this thing in me. And so what I did is within the Nantucket project is something called the Neighborhood Project. And you can sign up. Actually, people are doing it now virtually with their friends, but it's kind of like a book club, except for that you watch a series of short films with your friends, and then you just talk about them. So there's 2 different series with 8 films in each series. And they're themed, like the first one in the first series is called Acceptance. And it's this film. There's these characters in it. There's this guy, J.R. Martinez, who got blown up in Iraq and burned really bad.
Right.
Yeah, and so he's in this film, and and a whole number of people in this film share like these tremendous things that they've overcome and how they learn to accept themselves and this adversity and sort of create this new life. And so they'll play this film, and it's really moving. And then you just sort of sit around with your buddies and talk about like challenges you've had in your own life and that kind of thing. So that's kind of that was part of what I did with them, with some of my buddies, and they filmed some of that for the film. Yeah. So I am in season 2, episode 3, and that's it's kind of like.
So anybody can just go and sign up and be a part of it then? Like,
yeah,
really?
Yeah. If you go to the Neighborhood Project or go to the Nantucket Project website and go to there, they'll have a drop down. You can go to the Neighborhood Project. I think it's still free. Beauty Counter, which is a beauty product, and they do like all wholesome stuff so that you're not putting chemicals in your body.
Right.
This woman, Greg Renfrew, runs that company, and she sponsors these neighborhood projects. And so you can just sign up, and it's free as far as I know still.
Right.
And then and actually it'd be a good thing to do right now because nobody else has got anything else going on.
Yeah, man. Oh, see, I didn't realize that. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, and I think they figured out how to do it so that you could do it like this, that you can Zoom it or whatever platform you use, you can.
Right.
Yeah. So it's.
So
cool.
everybody can. Oh, right. Of course, because people can't like hang out at home or one location.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. So they've changed their model to be Corona friendly, and so. Yeah, but it's pretty good. They're all about connection and having people talk and putting down their phones and having authentic conversations, which we do very rarely nowadays.
Yeah. Dude, that's actually been kind of the trip. So like when Kim and I go out on our walks, because we've been doing like, well, I think I told you, we're probably doing like, on a good day, we'll do like 10 miles a day.
Yeah.
Or 10 miles in a day or whatever, kind of break it up in a couple of walks. But so we don't see many people out, which is cool. People are, kind of taking it pretty seriously around here, like social distancing. But you obviously see people out.
Right.
But the cool thing is when we run into our, we'll see some neighbor, like generally it's kind of like, hey, how you doing? Hi. And everybody's just going because they have to go, do something, run some errand or make dinner or whatever. It's kind of been cool, man. Like, you'll run up on someone and say, hey, how you doing? Oh, we're good. And then the next thing you know, you've spent like 10 or 15 minutes talking with someone who you generally wouldn't speak with, like at length. Obviously we're staying far, apart,
right.
But it's actually that's like the one thing was like, well, yeah, we all know we don't really have anything that pressing to go do, so, and I think it's definitely showing that people are definitely missing that the real social contact or, like communication between people outside of Facebook or Instagram or whatever, or just watching the news,
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Right. I really hope that, well, I'm not even going to say I hope, man. Like this is definitely going to change a lot. It's changing the world, so I
agree. As tragic as much of it is, there are some silver linings to it. I mean, I think in some ways the planet's had a chance to take a little bit of a deep breath. People are slowing down. I can't imagine how many, like you were talking about a good night's sleep, like how many people have been like 8 cylinders redlining it for years. And finally, for some reason, they have this month or 2-month period to like just take a deep breath. I mean, it's scary because of paychecks and all that. And at the same time, you're able to just like take this break in the middle of your life you never expected to take.
Yeah.
I see guys out running and like clearly they're huffing and puffing and probably running was on their list of things to do and they hadn't gotten to it. And, so like, Trish and I were joking the other day, we're like, we're either going to come out of this 20 pounds lighter and learning a foreign language or 20 pounds heavier and alcoholics. I'm not sure which, we're still on the fence, but so, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Yeah.
I think like what I've been and I'm sure you're doing the same thing. Is just trying to stay, stay in a regiment. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just being like, oh, I can sleep till whenever because I don't have shit to do, or it's like,
Right.
no, man, like I get up, and do my thing, like, and
Yeah. I have a friend who she her name's Maya. She works out in New York City, but she's a coach for women executives who want to kind of make it to the next level. And she is all about like, how do you hold yourself accountable? So what she was saying is like, when you go to work, you don't realize that you've outsourced your motivation to your boss. Like your boss being there is sort of like like, I better get my work done or I'm going to get in trouble or whatever I need to perform. And when you're working for yourself or you're working at home, like you now have to also be the person who's responsible for getting your work done and being motivated, And so she's like super good. She's got this whole routine. She gets up, she's got a friend, and what they do is they Zoom each other every morning. Then they go over their list of what they have to do for the day. Completely different industries. They're just buddies. And then she goes, then we put our computers on mute and we just start working, but we're there watching each other to make sure neither one of us like gets distracted.
Wow.
and like she starts her day that way every day so that she's got this accountability partner to make sure that like she gets off on the right foot. Then she's got this whole exercise routine with like sticker badges to reward herself. And so it's pretty funny. You got to come up with some creative skills to like make it through this thing.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, man, but see, that's what I've been tripping on though, man. It's like, there's definitely going to be a reevaluation of like just work life. Period.
Right.
Like in this country and possibly the world, because it's like, man, if you can still be productive, work, a lot of people are working from home now that probably maybe could have, or just most likely would dismiss the idea because that's not what that's not what you do, like, or working, but man, now when most people are having to work from home, and if you are being productive,
yeah,
and and seeing the the benefits of that kind of
right.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know how much of that will. It's going to change for a lot of people. I'll tell you that, man.
It will. I think a lot of companies were like, no, we don't want to do that. But now they're forced to do it. And, the ones who said, well, we couldn't now, well, it turns out you can, and some of the benefit is like, somebody Trish worked with was saying like, I used to drive an hour to work and an hour home every day. Now I have 2 more hours that are freed up that, I can work for 10 hours instead of driving for 2 of them, or just, my 6-hour workday at work is now an 8-hour workday at home because I'm not, spending 2 hours commuting. So, so there's other benefits, and some people are intrinsically motivated and work better that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think about like, well, then what are people's relationships going to be outside of work? I think, I think like, is that going to, are people going to, since they'll have, possibly you can get more done in a less amount of time, or just feel good about what you're doing,
right.
Like, if you're, hey man, I have like 2 more hours and I'm psyched on this job or whatever, but it would be interesting to see what life is like then outside of the workplace, when I'm more social, like situations, I think people are just going to be more appreciative of, being together, again, after all this, what I'm saying? And if you're not feeling like, oh man, I just did like an hour commute, and then I get home and then I'm like, if you have that extra time, you're feeling better,
right. Instead of wanting to lock yourself in your room, you might want to go out and visit with people or something.
Right, exactly.
We've got some neighbors here, that we used to like, we go run around town and go to some bars and stuff, and we'd see them and be like, hey, what's up? But now we see them in the hallway and we're like, listen, 1 month from now, we're going out for drinks. Like, we're looking forward to like being able to hang out with people that we took for granted before.
Yeah, exactly, man.
And human connection's huge, not being able to go into work right now. On Mondays, we hold what's called collective care for all ACEs. And we call in and we just kind of go over like, this is what my week has been like. And, for some of us, that's easy. Some of it's hard. I have a coworker whose mother has cancer. And so sometimes she has a rough night taking care of her mom. And so we just check in with each other. And so collective care is caring for the group. versus self-care. And I really value those. Like it's a Zoom meeting, but like being able to see their smiling faces, and talk and that kind of thing. It's like, I think, I never took it for granted before, because I left police work, which is a pretty rough, sort of macho community. And I went into this other world, which is hard work. Racial equity work is not easy stuff at all. But this idea of taking care of one another, that was new to me. And it was really is powerful. And I love being able to have that time with them. And I miss doing it in person.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, I can dig that. Yeah, man. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like a friend of mine just reminded me recently, like, I was telling him a story about like remember the DC sniper dude?
Yeah. Actually, you talked about the white van, right? Like they thought it was a white van. It turned out to be a sedan, like in the back trunk or something.
Exactly. So we were on tour during that time, and we were actually recording a live album. And so anyway, we ended up in DC right after they caught him.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, right after. So, and leading up to that though, they had like pretty much they had DC on lockdown. The whole area. They were telling people, stay in if you can, and people were kind of shook anyway. So they were
right.
So anyway, so by the time we got to DC to play, he had been caught and everything kind of chilled out. And man, I remember, and so anyway, my buddy I was talking to, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I remember you saying like your show was really great because people were just out, they were just like feeling really good,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, man, that's right. And so he was like, well, so hopefully it'll be like that after this, like people are just,
finally free and not taking it for granted.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly, man. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know, man. We'll see. I've been I could definitely do without watching the news at all, really. But I check in,
Yeah.
And it's just, it's definitely like I can only take so much of it, what I mean? Because it's like, to see people still politicizing, kind of anything right now is just ridiculous to me. You know what I mean? Like, man, this has nothing. This literally has nothing to do with politics, man. This has nothing to do with race. When it really comes down to it, it has nothing to do with any of that. So just to see people in our government who are supposedly dealing, and like making it all, man, this virus has nothing. It doesn't care about any of that shit.
It doesn't care. I was watching Bill Gates. He gave a talk in 2015 about the same thing, right?
Yes.
And he ends it by saying something, and I'll paraphrase it, but he says, health equity isn't just about justice for people, but it's about safety for everybody, and so, when they're politicizing it and trying to rip us apart, this and that, everybody getting better from this, there should not be haves and have nots in this, we should be taking care of everyone because the virus doesn't care how much money you make or where you're from. And so, making sure we take care of everybody, you don't want to just take care of the rich people because the poor people are going to get the virus and vice versa. And we got to eradicate it. And so really a just system would be to make sure that everybody is well cared for and can make it through this. And that will make a safer society for everybody, which is true. It's true always, but it's just more amplified now because it's real.
Yeah,
it was all theoretical before, but now it's kicking us in the ass.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I just hope we learn. I say we, but whatever. I hope some people learn from this.
Right. I mean, some of those Midwestern states they're not locking down yet. I mean, it bothers me. It's just ignorance in some people's parts because it hasn't hit them yet, but they don't understand that this is like, you know, it's a wave, and it's, you know,
they're going to find out, man.
Right. And that, you know, that will reflect those government leaders who are trying to politicize it. You know, this virus, again, it doesn't care about what you think, you know, the best talking point is. It's gonna wreak its havoc.
Yeah. Man, I'm just whatever, man. I'm doing what I need to do to just stay healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we'll see how that goes, you know. I'm feeling good, so shit.
You look good.
Feel good. Hey, man.
Looking good.
Feel good. Yeah, dude, man. So I told you, did you hear that Kaylin's got me on like a regiment, man?
No,
dude,
no.
Yeah, it's been nice, man. Like 5 days in the gym, which was, I'm kind of like, I was a little bummed out when they closed the gym.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it here, like a little modified, you know, but man, it's been awesome, man. Like, man, cause I just got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's got in 5 days a week. And it's been great, man. Like, cause I mean, that's what he's like going to school for, you know? So,
right.
And like, what he's just doing all the time with like baseball and everything, you know? So man, I've been feeling so good.
Cool. That's great.
Really
yeah.
Good,
I know. I get rid of all my weight. We live in a tiny apartment, so I don't have anything to work out with. You know, I have to do body weight stuff and just run and ride.
Dude, which is, man, that's cool. You know? Yeah.
Right. So I had to get ready for this PT test. I thought, and then I didn't have to do it. So I like ripped out push-ups. I don't do push-ups anymore, but I ripped out some push-ups just to see that I could, and sit-ups and stuff. And then like my stomach was sore for 3 days afterwards. I was like, oh man.
See what happened with me when I do that, man. Like so it actually happened when I first started working out again, man. Like I was like, got to the gym, you know, and of course I overdid it, you know, because I was like, I still got this and feel great.
That's right.
That day I was all right. I was like you know.
Yeah, it's always the day after.
The day after, and of course I'm so dumb. I'm like, damn, man, like what did I do? Like, you know, like.
Why can't I button my pants? My arm, it hurts to zip. Oh.
Thinking there was like something wrong with me or something, and I'm like, oh, right, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But whatever, man. So what's the PT test look like though?
It's not that hard. It's called the Cooper's Physical Fitness Test, and you have to hit a certain percentile. And so the run is 1.5 miles, and you have to hit a certain time.
Okay.
And then you have to do push-ups and sit-ups, and that's it. It used to be like No. It used to be a stretch test and then a bench press and all this stuff. But no pull-ups, which is probably good for me because I have I've never been great at pull-ups. I mean, I think I can, at my peak, I could do like 15 or something like that, you know.
Right.
But not now I think if I can just hang there by my arms, I'm in good shape. So,
man, how often do you have to do that though?
So I never had to do it, but newer because I got grandfathered into not having to do this test. But everybody after my class has to do it every 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, and at this point in my life, it's not that difficult. It's like 16 push-ups and 25 or 28 sit-ups and 1.5 miles.
Serious?
Yeah, and like 1.5 miles and 14 minutes and some odd seconds. You know, so it's not killer, but. You know, but you can't sit around and eat donuts for 3 years and expect to pull it off. So,
damn, really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny, man. Because I was always, that's interesting, man. I wonder what because I remember a while ago, man. There was like they posted what's it? Oh, it was the fire department here, but it might have been the police department in Deerfield as well. And I thought they posted. So I saw something. And I was talking to my buddy who's over there. I was like, man, I should do that, you know.
Yeah.
Then I was like thinking, just because a lot of guys, you know, well, at least from what I remember, like kind of part time here, you know. And then I was thinking, well. I always wonder what the you know, physical test would be like, but damn, if it's anything like that, man, shit.
It's different in Mass, but I don't know what their standards are. I think it's a little bit different, but it's called a certain thing. I can't remember what it is. But.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's some guys who grandfathered into that, man. I'm telling you, man.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I gotta say, man. Like, come on, man.
I hear you.
But then some of my buddies are like, they take that stuff real seriously. So, like RoboCop.
That's right.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know, man. But I always kind of said, I always had like this idea, not an idea, but I always kind of thought like if I didn't play music, I'd probably be a firefighter.
Yeah.
There's always something about it, man, that like kind of I was drawn to.
Yeah.
So anyway, so like, it was in the they were looking for guys last year, I think it was, and there was like something came in the mail.
Yeah.
Oh man, like that could be kind of cool, but I don't know if that's I don't know how, like, that was, well, I was 45 at the time. I don't know if that's like, that might be a little old for that.
Yeah, I don't know. You're in pretty good shape, you know. I'm actually in pretty good shape too. I still do some races and stuff, and beat up on some 20-year-olds every once in a while. So just let them know the old man still got it.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I mean, being a volunteer firefighter and stuff, that's a good thing to do for your community, you know. I mean, they need the help, and you know, it's a lot of older guys that still do it. They're not getting the younger folks in there like they could, and my son's thinking about being a volunteer firefighter. You know,
oh, really?
Yeah, he might do that. He's graduating high school this year, so
right.
It's a way to serve, you know, and people like it when the fire department shows up. They hate it when the cops show up. So people, you know, it's more gratifying.
Yeah.
Than the blue lights or whatever you got down there. So,
well, I told you, man. So I was telling my buddy though, like when I was thinking about, you know, I was like, man, I think I'd be great on the force. I could be like undercover when I had the Camaro.
Yeah.
I could put not much really undercover about that though, I guess.
No. Right.
Brother with a fro driving around in the Camaro, like, you know.
That's right. That's right. What was that movie? God, what was it? It was. You know what I'm talking about? Shaft. Exactly. It was Shaft, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Shaft. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Shaft to Deerfield.
Yeah. Right. Shaft.
Mm-hmm. Nah, ain't gonna happen.
No.
Nope.
That's some high kicking.
Exactly, dude. Oh man. Word. So what are you doing today, man?
Yeah, we went for a walk.
Anything else?
Kicking it with Al.
Yeah. That's right.
That's right. So I might go for a bike ride this afternoon, think about what I'm going to eat for dinner. And I think that's pretty much my life.
Man, I'm so sick of thinking about dinner, man. I'm telling you.
You got any good recipes? We're like pasta, beans, and rice, you know, like over and over and over again.
That's pretty much what I've gotten lazy, man. I've gotten lazy about it. So
yeah.
Oh man. I like almost didn't even eat last night, man. I was like, but I did, but pasta. I made some pasta.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, we made some weird rice dish. Trish, I make this like spicy tahini sauce that Trish is addicted to. So we put that in there. Yeah. It's got a good flavor. I'll send you the recipe.
All right. Yeah. Oh, damn. Well, cool, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, man, damn, I hope we get to hang out sooner than later, man.
Me too. I think we're on lockdown here till May 4th. And
that's the deal. That's what it's sounding like here too, but so far, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll cruise up there though, man.
Yeah. Do it.
You know, go out and hang in person.
That's right. And really appreciate it even more.
Yeah, dude, there you go. There you go.
All right.
Cool, John. All right, bro. Well, man, have
a
great day, man.
You too.
All right, man. I'll talk to you in a minute.
All right.
All right, bro.
Bye.
Late.